The thrilling story begins by showing a research laboratory where a girl named Syra is sitting on a strangely shaped structure. Nearby, a researcher named John is continuously asking Syra some questions. John simply asks her if opening the door is even possible. Syra, instead of speaking, communicates everything to him through a screen because she possesses psychic and kinetic energies. She was relaying everything to John via signals without saying a word. After analyzing everything, Syra explains that the door can be opened, but there's some dangerous force stopping her from doing it. Suddenly, Syra starts having strange visions in which she sees some people trapped in a certain place. The scene then transitions into her vision, where Syra is imagining herself. It was a very dark place, and there were other people present with her. Among them was a man named Jack who was screaming loudly. Syra and Jack notice that their bodies are tied up with tentacles, which seem to belong to a dangerous creature. No one could understand where they were. Just then, we also see Randa and Jack at that place, badly trapped in the tentacles. The woman named Randa gets extremely frightened and starts screaming loudly. The more she tries to move, the tighter the tentacles get. Eventually, she couldn't even breathe and faints from suffocation. Now John, Syra, and Jack begin to observe their surroundings, trying to figure out where they actually are. That's when it becomes clear they are not on Earth. They are aboard an alien spaceship that has ventured deep into space. But why is all of this happening to them? That we'll find out shortly. At that same place, another man named Barry is shown. Barry is also in shock, unable to grasp where he has ended up and what these tentacle-like things around his body are. But after looking around, Barry at least gets the idea that all of this is the doing of an alien civilization, and that it's actually very common for aliens to kidnap humans in such a manner. Meanwhile, Randa regains consciousness and starts screaming even more. But the more she screams, the tighter the tentacled aliens grip her. Then Barry and John try to calm Randa down, telling her not to move at all. As soon as Randa stops moving, the tentacles also stop tightening and remain still. Now, we are introduced to a Russian girl named Alex, who tells Jack, "You were a huge pop star who had gone missing." Alex explains that she belongs to a different place and time. Barry and John are shocked by this because Barry reveals to everyone that the current time is actually from a completely different era. It becomes clear that all the people trapped here have been taken from different timelines. Everyone soon realizes that these advanced aliens have kidnapped them from various points in time. Soon after, a dangerous, snake-like creature appears at that place. It slithers forward and attaches itself to Randa's face. Randa screams in terror, but no one is able to help her. Suddenly, she begins having strange visions in which she finds herself trapped inside a coffin. It turns out the alien creature had attacked her and trapped her within her worst memories. The more Randa screamed and panicked, the more powerful the alien's hold on her became. John, Barry, and the others present there are unable to rescue Randa from the alien. That's when Syra uses her telekinetic powers and, through the alien's nervous system, enters Randa's vision. Syra tries to pull Randa out of her terrifying memory and instead places her into a pleasant vision, one where Randa is happily living with her grandmother. Randa is overjoyed to be with her granny, but soon she realizes that this is not her real grandmother. It's a dangerous alien that has shape-shifted into her. And at the very next moment, that dangerous creature starts overpowering Syra as well. It neutralizes all of Syra's telekinetic powers and throws her out of Randa's memories. Syra, who was sitting in a structure with John in a different timeline, also begins convulsing in pain. At the same time, the Syra who was inside the spaceship gets seriously injured. This confirms that these tentacled aliens also possess telekinetic powers, just like Syra, and they absolutely don't want her interfering with their prey. Syra falls unconscious both in the timeline and inside the spaceship. But after John repeatedly tries to wake her, she finally regains consciousness. Meanwhile, Randa, who was still being held by the tentacled creature, began pleading with it, begging, "Please let me go." But the more afraid Randa became, the more violently the creature attacked her. Eventually, the tentacled creature strangled Randa to death. Everyone who witnessed this terrifying scene was horrified. They had no idea how they would escape this monstrous tentacled being. At that moment, John, who had been observing everything very carefully, realized something important. These alien creatures were feeding on their fear. That is, the creature was using their fear as a source of power. Whenever any of them became afraid, faint electrical sparks would emit from the tentacles, meaning these creatures were absorbing their psychic and telekinetic energies. And whenever they stopped being afraid, the dangerous creature would personally enter their minds and show them horrifying visions to terrify them again. That's exactly what the creature had done with Randa, meaning all the humans aboard the spaceship were nothing more than energy sources for these alien beings. Escaping from there seemed utterly impossible. Now John begins to reveal more about himself. He says he used to work for the US military, where he was a highly ranked researcher. A few years ago, their military soldiers discovered a spaceship that had landed on Earth. That mysterious spaceship was brought to their lab for detailed investigation. John says that after thoroughly examining the spaceship, they realized something shocking. There was no traditional technology inside it. Instead, the entire spaceship was being controlled by a single alien through its mind and telekinetic powers. These aliens could control any object with the power of their minds. For the human world, this was a groundbreaking discovery. That's why John's team kept the entire operation a secret and decided to experiment on it in full detail. John even tells everyone that a similar incident had occurred a few years ago. In that incident, another spaceship had crashed into Earth. However, during landing, the spaceship went out of control and exploded completely. All the kinetic energy from the aliens inside the ship spread throughout the city. To understand this case, John's entire team began investigating people in the city who may have come into contact with the radiation. They believed that the kinetic energy must have affected nearby individuals as well. And if they could find a human who had absorbed that energy, then that person might be able to control the alien spaceship using only their thoughts. After a lot of research, John's team found a pregnant woman. Although no physical changes were visible in the woman herself, the child inside her womb wasn't just any child, it was Syra. A few years after Syra was born, experiments conducted on her revealed that the alien's telekinetic energy had indeed transferred into her body. This meant that, like the aliens, Syra could control objects with her mind, even fly their advanced spaceship. The US military assigned this case to John, instructing him to conduct experiments on Syra. Syra was kept inside that same alien spaceship during all the testing. Eventually, using her telekinetic abilities, Syra was able to control the alien machine. But suddenly, the alien spaceship began overpowering her mind. John realized that performing such experiments could have a dangerous effect on Syra's brain, and it could even cost her life. That's why John asked the US military to stop torturing Syra. But the military only saw Syra as a test subject. They wanted to keep experimenting on her in different ways to fully understand the energy of the aliens. Now, John had taken a stand against all of this, and because of that, he was removed from his job. Since then, John had been secretly keeping an eye on alien technologies and on Syra without any official permission. Back inside the spaceship, Syra then shares a shocking secret with John. The tentacled aliens are absorbing all this energy to open a mysterious third-dimensional portal. Through that portal, they intend to bring their entire alien civilization to Earth from various points in time. If that happens, nothing will be able to stop the destruction of human civilization. These tentacled aliens have been kidnapping humans, torturing them, and extracting energy from their fear. The full energy required to open the portal is stored within this spaceship, and unless it is destroyed soon, the aliens cannot be stopped. After revealing all this, Syra sends John back from the vision to reality. But suddenly, the tentacled creature realizes that Syra is interfering again and helping the others. So it overpowers Syra and traps her inside a vision this time. To scare her, the alien takes on the form of Syra's mother. It tells her, "You receiving telekinetic powers was no accident. Our civilization intentionally gave them to you. They wanted to create a hybrid half-human, half-machine, so that our powers could grow to unimaginable levels. With your help, we could easily open the portal. And now, you're completely ready to give us all your powers, which will increase our strength even more." After hearing this, Syra is thrust back into her own body. Everyone present is now terrified because all the visions have ended, and the tentacled creature is coming toward them in reality, one by one. The creature first grabs Barry by the neck and slices his throat, killing him brutally. Then it starts heading toward John and Alex, ready to kill them too. The alien's main goal was to scare Syra, and it was trying to do so by hurting her friends. When Syra sees that John and Alex's lives are in danger, she begins to focus intensely using her mind. Syra's telekinetic energy directly links with the other version of herself from a different timeline, the younger Syra who was present on a piece of the spaceship, and she tries to control her. Here, a shocking truth is revealed. The younger Syra from the future was the one who had been limiting the powers of the Syra aboard the spaceship. That's why every time Syra tried to open a door, some unknown force would stop her, It was none other than future Syra. Future Syra already knew that the aliens would try to convince past Syra to open the portal. And if that happened, the entire alien civilization would return to Earth. So, future Syra was suppressing the past Syra's telekinetic energy using her own powers to prevent her from providing the aliens with the full energy needed to open the portal. But now, the situation had become so critical that in order to save Jack and the others, past Syra had no choice but to open the portal. Finally, even future Syra understood the urgency and removed all her restrictions from the past Syra. The Syra aboard the spaceship gathered all her telekinetic energy, and right in front of the spaceship, in deep space, a massive wormhole began to open. This wormhole led to another dimension, possibly one where many alien civilizations resided. But John realized that something else was going on inside Syra's mind, and he understood that Syra was planning to sacrifice herself to stop the aliens. Syra smiled at John one last time, and then suddenly, everything went blank. The moment the wormhole was created, everything began to reverse, as if the tentacled alien creatures were no longer attacking, but reversing their actions. Barry's head reattached to his body, and Randa, who had been killed, came back to life as well. It felt as if time itself was reversing, and because of that, everything had returned to normal. In the very next moment, John and the others found themselves back on Earth. Even those who had died during the entire incident were now alive again. But now John and his entire team fully understood one thing. They had to prepare because the alien army could reach Earth at any moment. All of them had now absorbed telekinetic energy, which Syra had transferred to them. Syra was forced to do this, so that the aliens wouldn't be able to extract and exploit all of her powers alone. But even then, the alien spaceship managed to capture Syra, keeping her imprisoned to slowly drain all her energy. And now, far away in another galaxy, due to the open portal, many alien spaceships had already entered our galaxy, which meant they could reach Earth anytime, and once they did, human civilization would be wiped out. However, a message now arrives from a command base on Earth, where the future version of Syra was continuously trying to contact John. But maybe that John doesn't exist in her timeline anymore, and had already shifted to another timeline with the rest of the group. Now, the only hope lies in them teaming up across timelines to stop the alien invasion. And with that, our adventurous sci-fi story comes to an end.